One spark, one unwatched corner. That's all it takes to turn a routine repair into a five-alarm fire. Welding, cutting, brazing, grinding, and soldering, manufacturing runs on hot work. But OSHA 1910.252 sets strict rules to keep it from running us into an injury or a fire. This training covers everything required for regulatory compliance, permits, exempt areas, fire watches, clearance zones, PPE, confined spaces, and emergency response. Throughout this session, we'll pause for quick self-check questions tied to what we just covered. Use these moments to think through the scenario on your own before we reveal the answer. OSHA defines hot work as any activity producing sparks, flame, or enough heat to ignite nearby materials, including welding, torch cutting, brazing, soldering, and grinding. It doesn't need a big flame. Even a grinder throwing sparks near a fuel line counts as hot work and falls under the exact same rules. Before starting, ask 3 questions. Is this a designated hot work area? What's within 35 feet? And do I need a permit? Pause here for a moment. Think through this. If a grinder throws sparks but there's no visible flame, is that still considered hot work under OSHA? Take a second to answer in your head, then we'll confirm. Correct answer: yes. Any spark-producing activity that can ignite nearby material is hot work, no open flame required. Not every hot work job needs a fresh permit. NFPA 51B recognizes designated areas, locations specifically approved for hot work where a written permit isn't required for each job. To qualify, the area must be built for hot work, non-combustible or fire-resistive construction, essentially free of combustible and flammable contents, and physically separated from other operations. Even in an exempt area, it's not a free pass. The permit-authorizing individual still inspects the space at least once daily to confirm it remains fire-safe. If conditions change, new stock stored nearby, a broken segregation wall, or added combustibles, the area loses its exempt status immediately, and a standard permit is required until it's corrected. Outside a designated area, OSHA and NFPA 51B require a written hot work permit anytime welding, cutting, or grinding takes place. The permit-authorizing individual, the PAI, inspects the area, checks for hazards, and signs off before a single spark flies. The permit documents scope of work, the time window, fire watch assignment, and every hazard control in place, from removed combustibles to ventilation checks. No permit, no work. A verbal go-ahead from a supervisor does not meet the documentation standard. Standard permits typically expire at the end of a single shift. Designated area permits, where used, follow the facility's own daily inspection schedule. Keep every completed permit on file. Auditors and inspectors will ask for them as proof that hazards were checked before work began. The permit isn't paperwork for its own sake. It's the one document proving every hazard was checked before work began. Memorize this number: 35 feet. That's the radius OSHA uses to define the fire prevention zone around any hot work operation. Any combustible material inside that zone must be removed or shielded with fire-resistant covers and metal guards. Sweep the floor first. Sparks travel farther than expected, and oily dust or metal lint ignites just as easily as paper. If combustibles can't be moved, a fixed pipe run, a coated wall, cover them with flame-retardant blankets or wet them down. Check both sides of walls and floors. Heat conducts through metal, and fire can start on the opposite side without anyone noticing. Pause here. A fuel drum sits 40 feet from your weld station, inside or outside the fire prevention zone. Work it out, then we'll confirm the answer. Correct. outside the zone. At 40 feet, that drum is beyond the 35-foot radius, but always verify with a tape measure, not a guess. Every hot work operator needs the right PPE, flame-resistant clothing, welding gloves, and eye protection rated for the specific process. Now, the most critical role in hot work safety, the fire watch. This person's only job is watching for fire, nothing else. The welder can never also be the fire watch. You cannot safely perform the work and watch for fire at the same time. A fire watch is mandatory whenever sparks could reach an opening, when combustibles remain within the 35-foot zone, or whenever a competent person calls for one. Fire watch personnel must be trained to recognize incipient stage fires and know how to properly operate the extinguisher in their hands, not just carry it. Fire watches must maintain a clear, unobstructed view of the entire hot work area. No phones, no side conversations, no breaks without a relief. If the fire watch must leave, even for a moment, a qualified replacement takes over immediately. The post is never left empty. Communication stays constant. The fire watch and the welder must be able to signal each other instantly if conditions change. Get any of this wrong, and it's considered a serious violation. Fire watch failures are one of the leading causes of preventable plant fires. Hot work inside tanks, vessels, or confined spaces adds a deadly variable: trapped fumes and oxygen levels that can shift outside the safe range. Used drums, tanks, and containers must be thoroughly cleaned or purged of flammable residue before any hot work begins. No exceptions, per OSHA 1910.252. Before entry, test the atmosphere for oxygen level, flammable gas, and toxic contaminants. The safe oxygen range is 19.5 to 23.5%. Outside that window, entry is prohibited. Ventilation must keep pace with fume generation, at a minimum rate of 2,000 cubic feet per minute per welder without local exhaust. If oxygen drifts outside the safe range, work stops immediately until it's corrected. An attendant must remain outside every confined space entry, ready to initiate rescue and maintain communication at all times. Confined space hot work needs its own permit, layered on top of the standard hot work permit. 2 forms, 2 sign-offs, 0 shortcuts. Below 19.5% oxygen, the atmosphere is deficient and impairs judgment fast. Above 23.5%, it's oxygen-enriched and dramatically increases fire risk. Both are entry-prohibited conditions. Pause here. Your gas meter reads a dropping oxygen level mid-task inside a tank. Do you continue working carefully or stop immediately? Decide now, then we'll confirm. Stop immediately, every time. A dropping oxygen reading in a confined space is never something you push through. Anyone can stop hot work if they see an unsafe condition. That authority isn't limited to supervisors. If a fire starts, the fire watch first attempts to extinguish it at the incipient stage, small, contained, and manageable. If it grows beyond that, evacuate, sound the alarm, and call emergency services. No hero attempts with an undersized extinguisher. Every facility should post emergency contacts right at the permit station, supervisor, fire department, and site emergency line, visible before work even starts. The job isn't done when the torch shuts off. OSHA requires the fire watch to keep monitoring for at least 30 minutes after hot work ends. Some facilities extend that to a full hour or longer, depending on insurance requirements or the materials involved. During that watch period, hidden sparks and embers can smolder inside walls, floor gaps, or insulation, completely out of sight. Only after a final inspection confirms the area is cold and clear can the fire watch be released and the permit officially closed. Let's lock this in with a rapid recap. 6 rules, 5 seconds each. Ready? 1. Exempt designated areas still need daily inspection. 2. No permit, no work outside those areas. 3. Clear the 35-foot zone. 4. Separate fire watch, always. 5. Keep oxygen between 19.5 and 23.5% in confined spaces. 6. 30 minutes minimum after work ends. Final self-check. Name the one role that can never double up as the fire watch, and describe one condition that would void a designated area's permit exemption. Answer both in your head before we reveal. Correct answers. The welder can never be the fire watch, and adding stored combustibles or breaking segregation voids a designated area's exemption. This concludes the training module.